Hi everyone. Hi, my name's Beth. I'm the Communities Outreach Officer for Heathlands Reunited. I've made it to Lavington Common now, which is managed by the National Trust. So I'm here now trying to find the next sculpture. So behind me you can see a nice map of the common and the plantation. So the common is amazing for lizards, and so I'm off now to meet Ralph Connolly from Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Trust, and he should be able to tell me a little bit more about the sculpture that we've got here at Lavington. So that's a little bit of a hint. So I'll just turn the camera around now and we'll walk over. So this is the car park at Lavington. So a nice big car park, some places to park, and if you don't want to walk too far to find a sculpture, or you can't walk very far, then Lavington is actually a really good site to come to, because the sculpture, I'm letting you in on a secret, is quite close to the car park. And the plantation that we're walking over to now, it has some nice wide paths actually. So it's one of the more kind of accessible heathland sites in the project area. So I'm just walking out of the car park now, coming up to the road. Of course I'm going to look both ways. Yep, safe to cross. And I'm just going through the gate now onto the plantation. So once you're through the gate, if you take the the path to your left, hello, you should see something quite exciting coming up on your right. Hi Ralph. Let's have a zoom in on this sculpture. Ah, so it looks like a lizard to me, am I correct?
Absolutely, yeah, so this statue represents a sand lizard. So you can see what one would look like in the wild there, that's an adult male. And that picture there,
Oh wow,
green,
so vibrant, beautiful.
And this is one of the iconic species that you find on heathlands in this area, across the South Downs and into the Weald in the north.
Okay, fantastic. And why do lizards like sand lizards particularly like heathland sites?
Heathland sites provide the sort of habitat they need, so you have open areas, warm sunny areas for basking. They've got lots of invertebrate prey, so things like moths and spiders and flies that lizards feed on, and they've got low cover, so shelter from predators. So basically it provides all they need for their life cycle.
And are there other kinds of lizard that live on our heathlands as well?
Yeah, it's quite easy being a herpetologist in the UK. There's only 6 species of reptiles to worry about. 3 of them are lizards. So we have 2-legged lizards, a common lizard, a viviparous lizard, because it gives birth to live young.
Okay.
And that's the most widespread one. That's the one you're most likely to see on the edges of woodland rides, out on grass and things like that. They love boardwalks, warm surfaces.
Okay. Oh, that's a good tip.
So things like that. So that's the most widespread one. Then we have the sand lizard, represented here by this statue, and that's a much rarer species. That's a heathland specialist. You only really find them on dry lowland heath and coastal sand dunes. They need sand to lay their eggs in. And then finally you've got a bit of a trick one, the slow worm. So
Aha!
a slow worm doesn't have any legs, but it is still a lizard.
Okay.
So it's not a snake, it has eyelids, and it once would have had legs, but that's millions of years of evolution ago.
Okay, that's so interesting. So what do organisations like Amphibian and Reptile Conservation need to do to kind of keep the heathlands in a good condition for sand lizards and other reptiles?
That's an excellent question. Heathland requires a lot of management. So if you sort of look over this way, you can see how there's lots of low bits of gorse and a few bits of birch coming up, some small pines in the background.
Should we walk over a bit closer, yeah?
So as it's left, these encroaching species will start to grow up. And if you look on the other side, you can see what they'll turn into. So that's sort of 5-6 years down the line. They get a lot higher, they're casting a lot more shade.
Yeah.
So if that isn't managed, you'll start to shade out all those nice basking spots you had, all these places that make the conditions great for invertebrate prey, and the site becomes a lot less suitable for reptiles. So part of the management that organisations like us and the National Trust have to do is to clear this scrub to keep the sites open.
Okay, fantastic. And do you have any other interesting lizard facts for us for today?
Well, an interesting sand lizard fact is that was saying about how they need to burrow into sand to lay their eggs, so they require sand in this country. But there are actually two distinct sort of populations you get in the UK. So you get the heathland sand lizards, which we get in the southeast and southwest, and they're the ones that you'll find on the sides around South Downs. But there are also a coastal species. And they're the same species, but they just have different colour morphs. So the coastal ones are a lot paler green.
Okay.
So sort of limey, yellowy green, and they have more distinct stripes down the back, and they do look quite different. So we actually have two distinct colour morphs of sand lizard in the UK.
And why are the sand lizards so brightly coloured? Doesn't that make them quite, you know, easy to spot by predators and things?
You'd be surprised actually. It's pretty good camouflage.
Okay.
Fresh green heather shoots coming through. That matches their patternation really quite well. So it's actually pretty good camouflage.
Okay.
It breaks up their body pattern so that they're not so easy to pick out. But I think the other thing is it's mainly just to impress the females.
Okay.
So the males with the brightest sides are the ones who are in best breeding condition, and they're the most likely to breed the females.
So the brighter the male, the better he might do then. Oh, that's so fascinating, Ralph. Thank you for telling us a bit more about the site. We'll go back over and have one last look at the sculpture. So as I say, Lavington, the sculpture is, as you saw, really close to the car park, so it's a nice, easy one to find. But we think that as the seasons go on, the grass is going to grow up around the lizard. So I think he'll become a bit harder to find as the years go on. And he's not got that beautiful bright green colour. He's a lot more kind of natural looking, I guess. So that's all from us at Lavington. I've got an hour now to get to Blackdown, which is going to be interesting. So if I'm a little bit late logging on, you'll know that I've got stuck in traffic or something. But hopefully see you at 2:15 at Blackdown. But before then, check in with Katie at 1:30, and she'll be broadcasting the next sculpture from Woolbeading. So thanks very much, Ralph.
Cheers.